Welcome back to the Grun Pod. We're your hosts, Mac Bedner and Henry Doherty, and today we're just going to keep it rolling for you guys. We've been on quite a break, but football season's back, so that means we're back. And sorry about Buck. Buck's on maternity leave, so
he'll hopefully be back with us soon.
He's in our prayers.
Yep, we pray for him.
Serving a suspension.
Yep, 2 weeks.
Anyway, we have something great and awesome to cover today. It's kind of a special episode. We're going to do our keeper rankings for our league. So as you know, the Grunions League, we're a 10-man league, half PPR, double keeper, double flex. So, it's real.
We just switched it to super flex, so we get 2 flexes now instead of just 1, which I feel like everyone's excited about. More points to be scored, higher volume games. It's always fun. More football to be watched.
Let me give a special thanks to all the 150 views we had last episode.
Yep.
Also,
Shout out Hank's Pickles.
Best
pickles in the South Bay.
Check out Hank's Athletes. You're going to see this kid running a 50-yard touchdown.
Yep. Link in description. We're going to start our keepers now.
So we're going to go top or from worst to best, and that's just how we're going to roll. Number 1 or 10.
Or number 10, we have Roscoe. I personally don't really like his keepers that much. Garrett Wilson and Kyron Williams. Garrett Wilson, I see him top 10 receiver. I don't know how good he's going to do with red zone with Breece Hall and Aaron Rodgers. Who knows if he'll still be healthy. And then his second one is Kyron Williams. Another person where I don't know how his red zone looks are going to get because he has Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and Sean McVay loves to air it out in the play action, which also does help Kyron Williams a little bit because the run game will be open. And also, Kyron Williams was out, I think, 7 games or something, 4 to 7 games last year, which is very bad in the regular season if you want to make the playoffs for fantasy football. So taking those is 2 stretches, in my opinion. I think he got 2 second-round keepers, which you're looking for 2 first-round keepers or 1 and 1.
So my input on this is he doesn't have a guy. You want a guy on your fantasy team, and that's usually like the top 7 guys you could say are the guys, or even the top 4. And he just doesn't come close to that, and it doesn't come with like another late first round. It's a second round, middle of the pack, and I just don't like it.
I also don't think these guys have too much projection to score a lot of points. I don't see Garrett Wilson going for 10 catches, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns because you got to put into play that they got Breece Hall, and I feel like Aaron Rodgers loves his wide receiver 2s and 3s.
Exactly.
But if Aaron Rodgers can hit Garrett Wilson on a few deep balls a week, I think
he'll be fine.
It's a pretty good pick.
Roscoe's season's not over just off the keepers.
He's got to draft well, though.
Yeah, we're just keeping it.
He's got
two
steady people to draft around.
Next up, Connor Kaiser, staple of the Grunions League, been here for 4 years. Let's say everything goes right. I don't even think he has a very high ceiling for his 2 keepers. He's going double RB in our format. Not it really, unless you have the top guys, and he doesn't have the top guys.
No, he's taking a chance with A-Chain, and then Travis Etienne. He's a guy that can give you 2 touchdowns for 1 week, but then he'll give you 50 yards and 16 carries, but that's not 6 points isn't going to give you a W.
Exactly. Not a lot to say.
Him and Roscoe are kind of interchangeable, I feel like, because Travis Etienne and A-Chain, you're really taking a chance on A-Chain.
A-Chain does the sky's the limit for the guy. He had 8 yards carry last year or something like crazy like that.
7.6.
Yeah. So that's the reason he has the edge over Roscoe, just because the ceiling for A-Chain is so much higher.
Yeah.
Because we've never seen
a full season out of him.
Yeah.
He missed a lot of games last year with a shoulder injury, and I'm pretty sure it was a knee injury early in the season. And they just signed Raheem Mostert back on a contract. I'm pretty sure it's $10 million a year. So of course, if you're paying a running back 10 a year, you got to give him a little bit of the rock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure Raheem Mostert was first or tied with Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey.
The guy was a touchdown machine.
For 18 touchdowns, I'm pretty sure.
Number 8.
We have Will Namick, Jonathan Taylor, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra, he's solidified the wide receiver 1 position in Detroit. I really do like this pick. Again, he's a solid guy to draft around. You just got to take chances in the draft with Amon-Ra. He's going to get you 10 catches for 100 yards and maybe a touchdown, which he'll take 15 points a week. Oh, it's great. And then Jonathan Taylor.
Another solid guy.
Yeah, the thing about him is he hasn't been healthy in 2 years. He kind of was picking it up at the end last year, but hopefully Anthony Richardson, Michael Pittman, and Jonathan Taylor can get it going.
The more I see Will's keepers, the more I like him. Actually, in another universe, he might be higher just because we might see a vintage Jonathan Taylor this year. But you have to keep in mind Anthony Richardson is a running quarterback himself, so he's gonna
he will take
a few of the rushing touchdowns. So that's my concern. And then Amon-Ra, he's just like consistent. So for Will to really make a dent this year in the league, he's got to just take reaches and really excel in his draft this year. Number 7.
For our number 7, we have Eli. He is the first overall pick this year. I do like Justin Jefferson with his first keeper because he has huge upside, but the bad thing about him is he has Sam Darnold as his quarterback, which fellow USC, I do love Sam Darnold, but can he help Justin Jefferson produce as the wide receiver 1?
That's the question.
I see easily if Justin Jefferson can stay healthy and gets the rock, which they love to give to him, he could finish top 5. But the thing that brings down his keepers is he's keeping Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. He's a Green Bay Packers guy, so obviously Eli's going to flock that way. But, this isn't, like we just said with JT, this isn't 2021. You're not going to get the super productive year out of him again. That's just not how running backs work these days, unless your name's Christian McCaffrey or Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So I just don't see the total ceiling out of Josh Jacobs at all, even in a new environment. Even we're going to talk about someone later who has higher ceiling. And yeah, it's just great. Justin Jefferson's awesome.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs are great talents. It just, are they going to produce fantasy-wise to the top of their ability? We don't know.
Josh Jacobs finished running back 1 in 2021 and hasn't really got the same. The Raiders took an iffy O-lineman with Alex Leatherwood from Alabama, and they just couldn't really get him going. And going back to Josh Jacobs, I feel like Eli kind of took a reach with him because he's fallen into the 3rd round, maybe beginning of 4th. So he is a Packers fan. I do see that, but I don't know if
it might have been 2022 though, where he led.
Oh, maybe it was 2022.
Yeah. JT, 2021.
Yeah.
6.
We have Caden. He has probably one of the best receivers. In my opinion, he's wide receiver 1.
Me too.
Tyreek Hill. He's got huge upside. You saw what he did last year. What did he have? 1,700 yards. And Tua, I feel like he had a good offseason, lost a little bit of weight. Hopefully, he's been working on his arm strength to throw the deep ball to him. But then the second keeper is a little iffy with contract issues.
Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk. Sorry for not saying the name. We don't know if he goes to the Steelers. Is Russell Wilson or Justin Fields going to get him the rock like they should? Or is he going to re-sign with the 49ers?
In a stacked offense.
Yeah, in a stacked offense. But he knows how to produce in the 49ers offense. But I don't see, if he stays in the 49ers offense, I don't see him going any higher than running or wide receiver 10 to 15.
He's got the guy, like we said, and then he has a semi-competent second option, but not as top heavy as the top 5.
Yeah.
Number 5, we actually have me.
His team.
You could say anything about it.
I really like Breece Hall. I think he's got really big upside if he stays healthy. Easily could finish RB1 on the season. He's going to get a lot of carries in New York. when it's cold in New England, New York, and when they play the Buffalo Bills, I could see him getting 20, 25 carries a week easily.
Vintage LaShawn McCoy type games.
There you go. Little snow day.
Yeah.
But the part that makes him the fifth is he's got Nico Collins as his second keeper.
Yeah.
He had choices between Sam Laporta, Nico, and Chris Olave.
I sold my soul to the devil last year for the chip.
Yep, he did win.
I had made a lot of changes, but that meant I wasn't going to have a second guy. So I had to go Nico Collins. Look, he's a top 12, top 14 guy in a stacked offense, consistent, and that's what leaves me out of the top 3 or 4 is just the second option just not there.
Yeah. And for Nico Collins, I mean, you saw what he did last year. Him and CJ Stroud kind of have the connection. But Tank Dell being there and Stephon Diggs coming in and Joe Mixon off the offseason, I don't know how much better he can play this year than he did last year. Yeah. But I do like
the bag though.
He did, so he might have to work for something. I do like those keepers though.
Number 4.
You can do mine. It's my team.
Number 4, we actually have the Big HD. Coming off the number 1 overall pick, he has CMC, and then his second option is the man right here.
Fantasy cover boy.
So the reason we have him at 4. He had to give up something for Puka. He actually traded a 3rd round pick for Puka.
Second round pick. Got a 3rd round back.
Got a 3rd round back. The thing, CMC, sky's the limit as always. Completely dominated the running back position. And Puka is the greatest wide receiver, rookie wide receiver we've ever seen. So also sky's the limit. It's just what he had to give up. And then Puka's might be a little banged up to start the season and share with Kupp. So we'll see if he's going to be a dominant receiver A or be like
I took Puka Nacua because he had a beautiful season last year, which I don't expect him to recreate because he broke most of the rookie receiving. But Cooper Kupp scares me a little bit, but he still performs pretty well with Cooper Kupp in the offense. But the thing that really made me want to reach for Puka Nacua trading a 2nd round pick was I get him for this season, next season, and the season after that.
That's value.
So I don't know how old he is right now. I think he's like low 20s, so I can get him for his prime years, which with CMC getting a little older, I'm going to need someone to fill that spot.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And look, say he takes Cooper Kupp in the first round of our draft, or the 2nd round. He's set, and they can have them paired together, and that's a scary trio right there.
I get that stack right there of Cooper Kupp and Puka. So either or, if whoever, because they don't really have a wide receiver 3, so whoever scores the receiving touchdown, I still get the points, which is very, very tempting to do.
Number 3, we have Buck.
Buck, he did have to trade for his first keeper, but I do like both of his keepers because he's got what do you think Jamar is? Top 3, top 4 receiver in the league?
He has a couple dogs. So he's got A.J. Brown and Jamar Chase, especially in our half PPR double flex format where wide receiver is going to run supreme, especially in that final flex spot because of how deep the position is. It sets him above the other teams in just having those 2 wide receiver slots filled out week in, week out, no matter what, and then being able to stack rounds 3 through 5 with the value that it has for wide receiver. He's going to have a very solid receiving core, not even solid, extremely good receiving core. That's going to scare a lot of matchups.
The reason why we put him at the 3 spot was because he's got arguably 2 first-round receivers on his squad. He did have to trade a 3rd round pick for A.J. Brown, which I think is a beautiful pick, and he got a 6th round pick back. Isn't bad, but can really pick and choose who he wants at the 6th round pick.
Not a lot to say. Very solid, very good. Let's head to number 2.
Number 2, surprisingly, James Lee. He did trade for his second keeper in Saquon Barkley. Mm-hmm. So we'll get into why trading to the person that he traded to is not good. Yeah. But Saquon Barkley, I mean, you want to talk about what upside he's got going from.
I mean, I don't know if a lot of people realize this, but Saquon's in a very similar situation as Christian McCaffrey was 2 years ago.
Worst O-line, balling
Yeah.
in a shitty offense,
Yeah.
gets traded to a really good offense.
And people doubted CMC when he got traded to the Niners, and then he exploded even within the high-powered offense that the 49ers had.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Philadelphia looks very similar to how that was. And I think he's going to produce. They don't have Jason Kelsey anymore for the tush push, as it's not going to function as well, so they might need to rely heavily him on short yardage, check down, stuff like that. He's got a great quarterback, great offensive line, top 3 in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, look, that's great. He's going to be great.
I do like that. If they can really work him into short yardage runs, get him a little third down going, get him going.
We didn't even mention CeeDee. We didn't even mention.
Yeah, we haven't even started with the first one. So he's got CeeDee Lamb as well, which easily, I think he's a top 2 receiver in the league. Tyreek Hill's 1, CeeDee's 2. But once they get this contract figured out, if he stays in Dallas, he can easily finish as the wide receiver 1 because he's got no targets to share with the wide receiver 2. And I really think that he can really produce because him and Dak Prescott always can find each other. So I really, really like James Keepers. He just needs a solid year out of Saquon Barkley. And if CeeDee Lamb takes off this year, James has a really good chance in going far this year.
You're probably wondering, where's WashU commit Brad Shear? And we hate to do it, really hate to do it.
Yep.
But Brad's number 1. But it doesn't matter. He's not going to win the league. He's going to get second again for the 3rd straight year, and like he always does. So this doesn't matter. Even though he's the best keepers, we all know Brad's fake.
He fumbles when it matters.
Yeah.
His keepers are Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. The reason why we put them is he got hero RBs. You saw what these 2 rookies did last year. He can keep them for the next 2 years or 3 years, which is really good out of these 2 because they're going to be good.
Only get better and better.
Robinson is kind of splitting the backfield with Tyler Algier, but I feel like once they see Bijan Robinson play, they're going to be like, oh, we got to give him 75% of the carries. Same with Gibbs.
And Kirk O'Chains is there. So.
Yeah, if Gibbs can really work into like being kind of a bowser like
75-25 too.
Yeah, David Montgomery, get a little bit more red zone touches. I would love that out of him. But the reason why we put him at number 1 is because he has 3 second-round picks.
Crazy.
So he just has a lot to choose from.
Them. So yeah, like we said, because he has the running backs locked, now he can stack his receiver room, starting with the 1st round, the 2nd round, with 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then 1 in the 4th. So look. Hats off to Brad. He did a great offseason, but we still know he's not winning it at all.
0-2 to me last year. And
I beat him in the chip. So, Brad, count your blessings, but nothing special yet.
Yeah.
We're going to see you in the next section. Peace. Back for part 2 of the Grun Pod, episode 3. Today, we're just going to continue where we left off, and we're going to go quarterback rankings. We already put out our top 15 for running backs and receivers, so why not make it spicy with the quarterbacks?
Yep. First up, coming off a good year, Josh Allen. The only bad thing about him, where he could drop from the 1 to maybe a 2 or 3, is his production this season. He's got no Stephon Diggs, no Gabe Davis. He's got Shakir. Mm-hmm. And Mac Hollins. But
Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman, Curtis Samuel, those guys. I like him at our number 1, but hopefully he can still produce this year. I like James Cook in the backfield. For our number 2, we had to do the reigning champ, Patty Mahomes. I'll take him over Lamar and Jalen, just a little better. You know, during the regular season he might be in a little slump, but in the playoffs he really turns it up.
Look, I mean, Patty had a down year for his standards, and he still threw for 4,153 yards.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't care what people say last year that he doesn't have rushing upside. He's had rushing upside his first 5 years of his career. He on average rushes a couple touchdowns a year. It just last year just wasn't the tide didn't go his way fantasy wise. Obviously, it did football wise, but. That's all I got to say.
And then our number 3 is Lamar Jackson.
MVP.
Just came off MVP season. Got another weapon with Derrick Henry. Might take away a little bit of his rushing upside. I like Zay Flowers in his 2nd year. I like Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely in the tight end room. I really see a good season out of him. And I do, for fantasy purposes, love his rushing upside. A little scary with Derrick Henry trying to take away some of the rushing, but
I mean, look, if he's going to give you 800 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns rushing, plus great passing stats,
plus over 3,000 passing,
it's just value all around. You're never not going to have that guy on a fantasy team. Number 4.
With our number 4, we did Jalen Hurts. Of course, he's a fantasy football merchant. Loves his QB sneaks.
Push.
Because rushing touchdowns are 6, passing is 4, so he gets a little boost there. How many rushing did he have last year?
15 rushing touchdowns last year.
15 rushing touchdowns.
Like,
a lot.
That is insanity. And it's going to be a little lower now that Jason Kelsey's out of the way, like I said earlier.
They're going to have to hand the ball off to Saquon. They have a lot of weapons, so I do see a good year coming out of them. They just got Jahan Dotson, A.J. Brown they've had, Devontae Smith they got. I see a big year coming out of Jalen Hurts. Our 5, we got Joe Burrow. The thing about him is if he can stay healthy, he's one of the best in the game, but he's just got to stay on the field.
Yeah, at his ADP, I don't know if he's the best take right now. There's more value later in the rounds, but he's a great fantasy option. He's proven it before. It's just he needs to stay healthy, and that's going to limit him from being like one of our top 3 guys. And look, you might take him in the 5th round, 4th round, whatever he goes, but unless he drops a little later, I wouldn't advise. I'd rather take one of these guys later, and we'll get into that with who those are, and then straight for 6. Who do we have?
We have C.J. Stroud coming off a beautiful rookie year.
Exactly.
Love the addition of Stephon Diggs. Just re-signed Nico Collins, Tank Dell. That offense is just perfect, and the running back. The run game will take a lot of stress off CJ's shoulders, so Joe Mixon is a great pickup there, and good tight end play. I really like CJ at 6 helm.
Weapons everywhere. Like everywhere you look, he's tossing there. That's all pro. Over there, 1,000-yard rusher.
Yeah.
3 years in a row. Like he's
and Joe Mixon showed us last year, even without Joe Burrow, he can still produce. So I really do like that.
Next up, what do we have?
We have Dak Prescott. You see what he does in the playoffs. He's a little shaky there.
But fantasy is a regular season sport, guys.
And if they re-sign CeeDee Lamb, I do like his passing yards and passing touchdowns. A little shaky in the wide receiver 2 and 3 compartment, but they do have Jake Ferguson. And they have Ezekiel Elliott, really good out of the backfield. He can catch some, make some guys miss.
Look, he threw for 4,500 yards last year and had over 35 touchdowns.
Yeah.
When you keep your wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, he's set.
Yeah.
No worry, no problem drafting him at his ADP in the mid 6th, 7th round. So.
Yep. Number 8, we kind of have a little sleeper. We got Jordan Love. I really do like this. Shout
out Eli.
Yep. I like his play action game. Just got Josh Jacobs in the offense. Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson was out for a long time last year. Just was a little bad start. But I really do like him in that offense. He performed very well in the postseason last year. I think he could have a really, really good year. That's why we have him at our 8 spot. In our 9, we're going to a rookie. We're taking
5.
Caleb Williams.
Soon to be GOAT. Mini Patty.
Yep. I mean, you can only talk so much about that wide receiver room. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. I mean, you got
Cole Kmet.
Like, you got
DeAndre Swift
so
is
many,
a pass catcher.
Yeah, you have so many weapons over there. I don't know how he's not good. I'm pretty sure they've been beefing up their O-line a little bit. If they can just keep him doing his thing, keep him on the field, I think he can perform very, very well.
I'm not one to fall for a guy just off the preseason, but man, those passes he was throwing.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and the way he can evade people, stay away from sacks, because taking sacks is really bad in the National Football League, and he evades them to the best.
Number 10, if you're in a deep format, Kyler Murray.
Yeah, he's a good steal for his pick because of his rushing upside.
His ADP too, like people are forgetting about him.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting drafted super, super late.
And last year, Kyler Murray still was putting up like 17, 18 points per game, but he wasn't even rushing as much as he could because he was still kind of scared running on his ACL.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this year, getting Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, another season with Trey McBride, Cedric Wilson, I think they could have a pretty good year. I think he's a good quarterback for our 10 spot. Our 11 spot, which could shock people because they had Anthony Richardson at their 7, is Anthony Richardson at our 11.
Look, he played 4 games.
Yeah, what do you have?
577 yards, 3 touchdowns through the air, 4 on the ground, which is pretty hefty stats. But
if
look,
he's a good rusher.
If he can stay healthy, he's a Cam Newton type. I don't think he can throw the ball yet.
I fully agree.
Now on to number 12. We got none other than Jaden Daniels. Hank, what do you got to say about him?
I think he's got a good chance for Rookie of the Year, but I think Caleb Williams is definitely going to take that. I do like Jaden Daniels, though, with Terry McLaurin. They just lost Jahan Dotson. I think he's got to learn how to slide and take less hits because in college he used to get hit hard, and that's definitely not going to work in the NFL. So that's why we have him at 12 on our QB rankings.
Mm-hmm. All I got to say is if you have that much confidence starting like in the preseason with what he's done, and then that's going to translate really quickly into week 1. So we have high hopes for these rookie quarterbacks like Caleb and him. So, yeah.
Yep.
That's all we got. Oh, and Buck's back.
Buck's back.
What up?
See you. He's back from maternity leave. See you in episode 4.